Welcome footy fans! Well, here we are a few days after the game against Greater Western Sydney. A 67-point win to Carlton, but we were only 10 points up at the main break. And as Footyhead said in his last little video, we're treating it as a bye. And we did treat it as a bye. We rested major players. We didn't have those players that have been in the engine room for the last few games. We put a bit of onus upon some of the newer, younger, less experienced footballers. And we very nearly paid the price. Some might call it complacency. I don't. I believe it was an experiment that was well and truly worth taking for one simple reason. Several years ago when I was working for a magazine, I did some interviews with some rugby league players, and they explained to me one of the things about why players get taken up after a certain number of tackles. It's because of the impact. The physical impact of body on body in competitive sports, or contact sports as Aussie rules is to an extent, takes a lot of sting out of a player's ability to recover and bounce back. We've now had 6 games into the season and players' bodies are starting to feel the strain of the continuous impact. So it's good to be able to rest them. So a Clayton's bye against Greater Western Sydney and resting a few of the key position players was a good idea in essence, in theory and in practice. And it also showed that the players that were left on the field, some of the major players weren't there, they still managed to lift and get up over the line. Look, you can take your good points and your bad points from anything. I prefer to look at the positive. We got the win. We also got some valuable experience on players who beforehand had not had to carry the total burden of success on their shoulders. So it's given them that little bit of extra experience which can come in extremely vitally important during final series or later on in the season when injuries start to happen, which they do. But don't take all the hammer out on the Carlton players. The Greater Western Sydney players played to the best of their ability, and in some cases above their expected ability. A team of first year players in some cases up against premiership hopeful players. Players with a lot of years of experience under the belt. We've been through that system where we've had to build our team up from scratch. Greater Western Sydney, they were in the position where we were in 5 years ago. It's a long hard road and every victory is important to us, and 67 points, that's good enough for us. Whether you want to look at the negative side of it, of us being overconfident, sloppy, taking an unnecessary risk, we got the 4 points. We didn't take an unnecessary risk. I think we made a really good decision there at the executive level of the club of resting players and getting other players more major game experience and taking the responsibility of victory on their own shoulders. Another week coming up in footy for the Blues. Go you Blues and bring on September!